Hello everybody, Donnie here, and welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. I hope all of you are doing well and fine today. We're going to dive right into this. This is actually the continuation of the previous two stories. Updated. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have my dad in my life after he chose his new family? Original post. When I was 13, my dad had an affair and left my mom and moved in with his affair partner, who I'll call Janet. At first, me and my sister would visit every weekend, and I will admit he was a good dad, although I never really liked Janet. When Janet got pregnant and had their son, our visits became less frequent, and my dad was more concerned with his new family. He would miss some of my recitals or my sister's competitions because he was busy with his new son. When I was 16, Janet decided she wanted to move for a new job opportunity. Me and my sister begged him not to leave us, but he just said I need to prioritize my family. He moved 10 hours away. That pretty much ended our relationship, and I decided to go no contact, as it was clear he did not consider me family. My younger sister stayed in contact with him. He would try and call me and offer for me to come and visit with my sister, but I refused. When he came back to see my sister, I would refuse to speak to him when he turned up at the house. I didn't invite him to my high school or college graduation. I'm now 33 and have remained no contact with him. He has over the years repeatedly tried contacting me and getting his family to contact me on his behalf to reconcile. I have avoided family events in case he attended, including my sister's wedding and baby showers. My dad and his family moved back to our hometown 3 months ago, and he has been relentless trying to reconcile. I've received messages from my half-brother and sister wanting a relationship, saying he's a great dad. My dad found out I'm getting married and keeps trying to contact me and has even tried to speak to my fiance. Janet messaged me saying that I have broke my dad's heart repeatedly and I'm pathetic and should get therapy. I replied back that she was nothing but a home-wrecking whore, and then I blocked her. Everyone seems to be wanting me to let him back into my life. I'm sick of all the harassment and accidentally bumping into my dad and his family in the town. Whenever I see him, I just walk away and refuse to speak to them. Everyone is saying he's a good dad and tried his best to remain in contact, but I pushed him away. Everyone is pressuring me, my mom, sister, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and even some of my friends. My fiance has even started saying that I'm the a-hole for shutting him out. It's all starting to get to me, so am I the a-hole? I think you don't necessarily have to give him another chance, but at least speak to him and get closure. And then maybe consider getting therapy too. Now for the updates. Update 1. Thank you all for the comments. Although most seem to be not the a-hole, some were yes the a-hole. Some of you gave helpful suggestions, which I'm planning to take on board. I've just spoken to my fiance and unfortunately it has not gone well, but at this point in time, I've had enough and want to run away and never come back. My fiance knows my history with my dad and Janet. I explained to him that him siding with my father and pressuring me was hurting me, and as my fiance, he should be supporting me. I do agree with that. My fiance, who I'll call Larry, told me he can't support me in doing something that he knows is wrong. Larry told me that he had spoken to my father and had an understanding of both sides of the story and believes that if we both sat down and talk, we can sort this out and reconcile. I told Larry I don't want this and want no contact and asked why he is even speaking to my father. Larry admitted his father, who is friends with my dad, encouraged Larry to speak to him and hear him out. Larry told me my dad loved me very much and always wanted to be in my life and has pictures of me. I'm guessing he got these from my family as my social media is set to private. Larry said my dad is heartbroken at the state of our relationship because I was being unreasonable about him moving away when I was young. Larry stated that I got on the wrong foot with Janet and that I was not innocent in the breakdown of the relationship. He told me that everyone can see the truth about me and to look in the mirror because I'm the problem. Needless to say, I broke down crying and asked him why he was doing this to me and not supporting me. Larry claims to love me but won't stand by and watch me be a heartless bitch. After he said this, I stood up, told him that he shouldn't marry a heartless bitch, and walked out. I'm currently sitting in my car. My phone is blowing up with Larry trying to contact me, but I don't want to speak with him. I'm losing everything and everyone. I don't understand what is happening. Update 2. Hi everyone, thanks for the comments and letting me sound off on you as I desperately need an outside perspective. I know a lot of you telling me to cut all contact with my family and leave town, but that's not an option for me financially, and I would not be able to set up business elsewhere all my money is invested in, and I have only managed to get established recently with my steady income. Relocating is not an option for me. I love my friends and family and don't want to cut everyone off. I love my hometown. I grew up here. This is my life, and I'm not willing to walk away from it. I didn't expect to write another update this fast, but a lot has happened today. So first, I agreed to meet with my dad and talk and try to get him to back off and leave me alone. I asked my mom to arrange it, just him and no one else. I wasn't sure if he would agree to that, but within 15 minutes of her calling, he was at the door. I asked my mom to stay and mediate. To summarize the conversation, these are a bit messed up because it's a lot to remember. Me. I asked him to give me space and stop trying to get everyone on his side and let me live my life. I told him he stopped being my father when he moved 10 hours away. I told him Janet was mean to me and told him about all the horrible things she has said to me over the years. I hate how he chose Janet and his new family over me, and how he told me he had to prioritize them, and how he basically told me I wasn't family. He was an a-hole for withholding my college fund and trying to blackmail me and then spending it on his new family. I hate how I missed major family events because he attended the events and would make them awkward. I don't see his son and daughter as my family, and I'm sick of them trying to speak to me and approach me. He keeps making scenes every time he sees me and making me look like the bad guy. He keeps inserting himself into my life, going to my fiance's family events, going behind my back to talk and sway Larry to his side. I hate how he cheated on my mom and broke her family up, and then listened to Janet, who stopped our dates, missed my recitals, reduced contact, and was more concerned about his son, him. He loves me and always has. He is never going to give up trying to reconnect, and he has given me enough space over the years, and he is done hearing about my life from secondhand knowledge and is not willing to miss any more of it. He loves Janet and cannot regret his past because he wouldn't have her or his 2 kids. He wishes he would have done it differently and ended his marriage with my mom first. His kids are innocent and I shouldn't be taking it out on them. They just want to know their big sister. I was difficult as a child who was rude and disrespectful to Janet, breaking her belongings, calling her names, ruining day outs. When Janet got pregnant, she was high risk, and me coming over every week and starting arguments was stressing her out. So for her and his son's sake, he stopped the weekend visitations. He still spoke to us on the phone and took us out for dinner and days out, but just didn't let us sleep over. When his son was born, he was premature and had health complications, which meant him staying in the hospital for weeks and frequent hospital admissions. Janet was also going through PPD, so he wasn't able to see us as much and had to miss some events when he was taking care of Janet and his son. Janet was unable to get a job locally, and the opportunity was too good to pass up, so they had to move. He pointed out that he came back to town for weekends as much as he could to see us and would always invite us to fly out and spend vacations with him. He phoned every day, but I refused to speak or see him. They had flown in for my graduation, but I refused to invite him, and he lost his temper and refused to give me my college fund. He apologized for this and tried to fix this a few weeks later and to give me the money, but I refused it. He has not spent the money. He still has it, and I only have to ask and I can have it. He had visited me at my college to try to talk to me, but I refused to see him. He is not going to miss family events. He makes a scene because he misses me and just wants to talk to me and reconcile, but I've always ended up running away or shouting insults at him and Janet. He has been trying for 16 years to reconnect, but I shut him down at every turn. He just wants to be my dad. He is old friends with my fiance's dad, and he'd hoped my fiance could talk some sense into me and open up a line of communication. He feels I never gave Janet a chance no matter how she tried in the beginning, and hoped that we could be civil. Janet hates knowing I talk bad about her, am mean to her children, and won't speak to him. My dad is in therapy and wants me to join him for family sessions. He wants me to spend time with him one-on-one, to stop being rude and mean to his children and spend time with them. Stop trash-talking Janet to everyone and actually give her a chance to invite him and my family to my wedding and to walk me down the aisle. I want him to stop talking to my friends and getting others to try and talk to me on his behalf, keep Janet away from me completely, to be civil at events or in town, providing he does not try and hug me or talk to me. My mom told him he was being unrealistic with some of the things he wants, especially regarding Janet and his other children, so we have agreed for now. I will attend 3 therapy sessions with him when he arranges it. My mom thinks that I need individual therapy as well, which I really agree with. He will stop trying to interfere in my life and relationships. He will keep Janet away from me and talk to his kids to give me space. I will be civil to him in public as long as he respects my personal space and does not approach or pressure me. As for my fiancé, I still haven't spoken to him. He turned up at my mom's, but she refused to let him in. He keeps blowing up my phone, and so does his family and friends, telling me to hear him out. During my conversation with my dad, I found out my dad has paid for most of the vendors and services for my upcoming wedding, and they have been on speaking terms for quite some time, longer than I thought. Larry told me his family had paid for these, and I believed him. I feel betrayed by him and that I can't trust him. I'm going to have to speak to him eventually, but I don't feel ready. Update 3. First, I'd like to apologize for taking down my posts. I really felt upset and felt under a lot of pressure and needed space to think without constant messages. Some of you are trying to be helpful, and I appreciate that, but some of the abusive messages I received was terrible. I'm updating for those who have asked for an update and were supportive of me. This will be my last post, and I won't be posting again. Firstly, the deal with my dad is off the table. He couldn't even manage a week without overstepping my boundaries. So there will be no therapy sessions with him, and I will remain no contact. As you all are aware, after speaking to my dad and agreeing a way forward and my conditions, keep Janet away from me, tell his kids to back off, don't pressure me or invade my space. It lasted all of 3 days. Everyone seemed happy that I'd forgiven my dad and told me so. My sister was excited I was willing to give him a chance, and with some pressure, I agreed to have dinner with just her and my dad. When my sister and I arrived at the restaurant to meet her dad, he was not alone. He had invited Janet, my grandparents, a son and daughter. He got up and tried to hug me. I immediately became upset, asking why they were there. My dad told me that if we were going to have any hope of repairing our relationship, I had to accept Janet and my younger siblings. I told him he just broke our deal and to never contact me again, and tried to leave. He refused to let me leave and grabbed a hold of me. When I say hell broke loose, I mean it. I started shouting at them. My dad, Janet, and grandparents tried to gaslight me and convince me to sit down. When that didn't work, things got very heated and a shouting match started, and a lot of unforgivable things were said by my dad and Janet, including remarks about my appearance and calling me a psychopath. My half-brother walked out of the restaurant and my half-sister started to cry. My sister actually surprised me and defended me, shouting at my dad for ruining things after all this time when I had finally given him a chance. She even slapped Janet. She got me out of there and apologized to me. I think this was the first time that she had really seen how Janet was with me and how she treated me. She kept saying she couldn't understand how Dad had spent years saying he would do anything to have me back, and then would do this when he finally got his chance to rebuild the relationship. My dad has been trying to contact me, but I've blocked him and refused to talk to him. I have also refused to speak to my grandparents. My dad has tried to convince my mom and sister to speak to me, but I think he's burned his bridges with them. The incident from the restaurant has spread, and some people seem to be backing off. Like I said, what my dad and Janet shouted at me was unforgivable, and they were overheard, and this is a small town. Hopefully people will back off, and those who won't, I'm just going to have to cut them out. My sister is very unhappy with my dad and Janet and not speaking to them. She is blaming them for me going no contact again. My sister is not letting them see her kids. I don't know if my sister will reconcile, but right now she is furious. My mom is also furious and apparently had a few choice words with my dad and Janet, and has promised she will never pressure me again to speak to him. I'm going to go to individual therapy. I think I definitely need it. I do feel bad about my half-siblings, as they haven't done anything wrong, and maybe open to having a distant kind of a relationship with them in the future, but I'm just not ready yet, or if I ever will be. I did send them a message on Facebook to apologize and tell them that they've done nothing wrong. Lastly, to update you all, in regards to my fiance, well, I spoke to him yesterday about everything. I had been radio silent since walking out on him. Basically, he was pressured by his father to speak to my dad and was fed a sob story of a misunderstood father desperately wanting to be in his daughter's life. Larry had become annoyed with me refusing to attend family events and walking out of his mother's birthday party when I realized that my dad and Janet was going to be there, as he was getting pressure from his family about me ruining their events. He just wanted everyone to be happy and get along, clearly at my expense. Larry admitted my dad had paid for some of the vendors for the wedding, but he did not know this until after it was already paid. His father had told Larry that him and his mom had paid for it. My dad had told Larry it was a gift and his way of contributing. Larry admitted my dad had asked him to speak to me on his behalf. I told Larry he had betrayed my trust and I couldn't see myself marrying someone who does not support me. He broke down crying and apologizing to me and promising to never do it again. Larry was heartbroken and begged for a second chance. To those of you who wanted me to break up with him, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we're going to try and work through this. Apart from this issue, he has been the best partner, and I genuinely think that he had been manipulated by his family and my dad. Larry has promised to stand up to his family and go no contact with my dad. I'm still living at my mom's as I still need some space, which I won't have if I move home. We are going to contact our wedding vendors and see what our options are for next week. Larry is begging for a postponement rather than cancel it altogether. We may still break up as actions speak louder than words, and I need to see if he can rebuild what we had and show me that I can trust and depend on him. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's failing her oldest son if she doesn't get him the help and support he needs? I, 29 female, told my sister Kate, 33 female, that she will be failing her oldest son, Cody, 11 male, if she doesn't get him the help and support that he needs. Cody's birth father left when Kate got pregnant. Ben entered their lives near the end of my sister's pregnancy, but they didn't start dating until Cody had turned 1. Ben was an amazing dad, and none of us doubted he truly adored Cody as he saw him as his own. Ben adopted Cody when Cody was 3. When Cody was 7, Kate ended up pregnant with their second kid. Cody struggled with jealousy, but Ben was amazing and spent extra time with Cody to show him nothing would change between them. And then Ben died before the baby was born, and it completely destroyed Cody. Everything got worse when Kate gave birth to Shane 7 weeks after Ben died. Ben's parents only cared about Shane and showed how they only treated Cody like a grandson because of Ben. But with Ben no longer there, Shane was all they cared about because he was blood. This made the jealousy return and come back, a vengeance and twisted with deep resentment. Ben's sister still treated Cody the same though, and tried her best to make up for everything. But it wasn't enough because as close as they are, Cody grieved for a dad and grandparents he thought loved him. Things are worse than ever now because Kate is remarried and Shane calls her husband Dad. They want Cody to do the same and try building that relationship. But it makes Cody so angry. The new husband has been so dismissive of Cody missing Ben because Ben isn't his real father. Shane calling his stepdad Dad has made Cody more resentful and more bitter towards him. My parents and my 2 brothers and other sister have spoken to Kate about Cody needing help. Ben's sister also spoke to her. I tried once before, but she dismisses all of us and doesn't believe this is so damaging or harmful to Cody. She thinks he'll be fine when he accepts the way things are. Last week, Cody had a meltdown at a birthday party in front of the whole family. He said Shane didn't deserve Ben and that he wishes Shane had died instead of Ben because he wanted his dad and not Shane. He told Kate that she never really loved Ben and told Kate's father that he'll never be as good as Ben. It was so hard to watch. Kate and her husband left early with the kids. Ben's sister reached out after she heard what had happened and said that she was so worried, but Kate refuses to listen to her. She also said her parents don't care, so they won't try being there for Cody. This is when I decided Kate needed to hear it, and I told her she was failing Cody and she'll continue to fail him if she doesn't get him the help and support he needs. I told her we have all tried to be kind and sweet about it, but she needs to hear that she's a failure. Of course, she didn't like hearing that, but has cursed me at every day since for saying that to her, and she called me a judgmental bitch who needs to mind my own business. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I feel very sorry for Cody. I feel very sorry for everyone in this story, but especially for Cody. Is there any chance that talking to him could help? He probably realizes he's not okay, and he might really need professional help, especially if a trusted adult sits down with him and talks through all the options. Maybe if Cody asks for it himself, your sister will be more helpful. And if she isn't, the school might have resources. 11 is young, possibly too young to accept help. There is also the problem that she might still refuse, and then you've offered him help that's available. So handle this advice with huge care, because I don't have enough information to judge if this is a good tip, but it might be something to think about. OP says, I don't think it would help. Cody is already going through too much, and Kate is happy enough to ignore the things that he does say. I also don't know if he would take it the right way, to be honest. Maybe from Ben's sister, but even then I fear that could make Kate react even worse if she knows where the suggestion to Cody came from. This person says, as someone who lost their father at 11, I can tell you that it's going to get even worse if she doesn't act on it right now. He feels alone in the world, and he's going to get so much more resentful. He needs grief counseling and someone to talk to in any situation. Is there a possibility you can arrange that and be his rock? His feelings are valid and should be validated by people around him. No kid should be failed like that, especially not by the remaining parent. I couldn't agree with that more. I think that this boy definitely needs some help. Not the a-hole. This whole situation will have far and lasting effects on Cody. He's had so much loss in his life. Now he's reached the age where having a good father figure is vital. A man who will teach him how to be a good husband and father just by being an example goes a long way. Right now, he's not getting that. He's also learning that his emotional and mental well-being is not important to the one person who should have his back no matter what, his mother. He's learning that he's less than. It's clear he's crying out. If this behavior towards him continues, I truly fear for his future. Drug use, self-harm, depression, anxiety, and abusive behavior towards others are very real things. It's not just Cody that needs therapy, but his mother does as well, both together and separately. He's at a very critical age, and the time is now. Please don't give up. Continue to be his advocate. Be sure to spend as much quality time with him and let Cody know you are always there for him. Thank you for loving him. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you.